Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Today's story is delicate, emotional, and if we handle it right, useful for anyone who has ever watched a rumor sprint past the truth. Our focus is Alp Navruz, Ayça, and the flurry of speculation that surged around them in the last stretch, first about a reconciliation, then about a painful misunderstanding, and finally about a separate wave of attention tied to Alp's new commercial work with Alina Boz. We're going to map what fans think happened, what has actually been said, and how to follow a public breakup without turning real people into characters on a stage. Let us rewind to the simplest version of events most viewers hoped for. After the breakup, a quiet chorus of posts and comments suggested that Alp Navruz and Ayça were finding their way back to each other. Little things, their tone in brief interviews, a song choice added to a playlist, a caption that seemed warmer than usual were read as signals. When birthdays approach, those hopes often intensify. People want an excuse to believe a clean pivot is possible. For several days, the most liked comments under fan accounts were variations on the same line: "They're reconciling. You'll see." Then reality took a harsher turn. Across a handful of heavily followed pages, a single image began circulating, a moment clipped from social media, stripped of context, and amplified with captions that did more guessing than reporting. The post landed like a stone. Fans who had been whispering about a reunion felt blindsided. The narrative flipped from maybe they're back to maybe the worst timing imaginable. According to chatter in that first hour, Ayça learned of the post the way everyone else did, on a screen. The detail that spread most quickly: she was expecting a peace offering on her birthday, cannot be confirmed by anyone on record, and we won't pretend to confirm it here. But we can say this: a hope meta headline, and the collision hurt. Here's where the room tends to split. One side wants an immediate villain, the other wants a neat moral. Neither will help. Public stories rarely come with perfect information. What we do have are patterns, and those patterns are instructive. After past breakups in this industry, the people most harmed are the ones who are asked to relive the moment in public every time a new comment thread goes live. The family and friends who get pulled in next are asked to carry emotions that don't belong to them and defend decisions they did not make. That is the cycle to resist now, however strong the urge to litigate the timeline feels. Let us talk about the moment the rumor mill pivoted from private feelings to professional optics: Alp's on-screen partnership with Alina Boz in recent advertisements. The chronology fed a storyline some were eager to tell: breakup, rumor of reconciliation, public disappointment, and then an ad campaign with someone new. It's the kind of chain that looks airtight at a distance. Up close, it usually isn't. Advertising deals are scheduled weeks or months ahead. Wardrobe fittings and rehearsals are locked before hashtags trend. And co-stars in a campaign are colleagues, not plot points. Alina Boz is a respected actor in her own right. Reading malice into a contract she fulfilled is not only unfair, it's lazy. If you want to understand what happened without assigning blame you can't substantiate, keep three principles in view. First, timing and intention are not the same thing. A post can land on a day it never meant to share. An ad can air after a schedule shift no one on camera controlled. Second, privacy and silence are not admissions. When people choose not to explain themselves to strangers, it doesn't mean those strangers guessed correctly. It means the people at the center are protecting oxygen they need to breathe. Third, the most generous reading that fits the facts is usually the least harmful, especially to people still processing. Back to Ayça, because her name has been spoken the loudest. In the version of the story that traveled furthest, she waited on the edge of a reconciliation that never formed, then retreated to family and close friends when the news cycle cut through that hope. That image resonates because it is human, not because it is confirmed. What is confirmed is the way fans rallied around her. Messages asked for people to stop tagging her under every theory, comment sections filled with reminders to respect her pace. The healthiest fandoms do this instinctively, they turn from feeding the algorithm to protecting the person. And the most difficult part of a public breakup for the more visible partner is deciding when to speak. Too soon, and you are accused of managing a narrative. Too late, and you are accused of hiding. Too precise, and you risk dragging private details into a space that can't hold them. Too vague, and you satisfy no one. If you've ever wondered why so many celebrities default to a short, controlled statement that says very little, this is why. It gives everyone a sentence they can point to without turning a life into a press release. Let us also name the outsized role of screenshots. A single image becomes a referendum. People zoom, crop, annotate, and declare. Yet the missing element's tone of voice, the sentence before and after, whether it was meant for a small circle, carry most of the meaning. That is why our channel urges a slower posture, watch for accountable words attached to accountable names, resist the urge to solve a story with artifacts that were never meant to be evidence. There's another thread here that deserves attention, the role of families. In the narrative that hardened around this week, Ayça's family was described as angry at Alp because of their daughter's sadness. Whether or not anyone went on record, the reaction makes intuitive sense. When someone you love is hurting, you look for a cause and you form an opinion, often in that order. But families also live with the consequences of public anger. A sharper path is to let them be precisely what they should be, shelter without making them content. So where does this leave the third name in the headline, Alina Boz, with dignity intact? She signed on to a professional project that asked for chemistry on camera and drew attention by design. If you're tempted to read the ad through the lens of the breakup, pause. Colleagues exist. Campaigns exist. The best way to support Alina now is to keep responses to the work and refuse to conscript her into a story she did not write. If you are a fan looking for a constructive way forward, here are a few simple moves that genuinely help. Give the principals time. If they decide to talk, meet their words with the same care you demanded from them. Don't interrogate friends and relatives for the real story, that pressure often ricochets back onto the person you think you're defending. Under posts about unrelated projects, let people work. Not every caption is an invitation to revisit pain. And if you must process out loud, do it in places that don't tag the people involved into your grief. It is tempting in moments like this to insist on a moral. He should have. She should have. Real life rarely rewards those sentences. What it rewards is what the best breakups, yes, there is such a thing, eventually reach: proportion. Private calls instead of public ultimatums. Boundaries that are stated once and then upheld without applause. A refusal to treat every future collaboration as a test. And when enough time has passed, an ability to talk about the good without re-injuring the present. There is an upside to how loudly this story echoed. It reminded a lot of viewers that parasocial closeness is not the same as closeness. You can care, and still be careful. You can hope for reconciliation, and still hold your breath when a rumor sounds too convenient to be true. You can feel protective, and still refuse to turn your protection into a pile-on. That kind of audience is a gift. It gives artists room to heal, and it lowers the temperature for everyone who comes after. Before we close, here's the cleanest, fairest summary you can carry with you. After Navruz and Ayça split, whispers of reconciliation grew, especially around a birthday that made hope feel plausible. A post stripped of context flipped that hope into disappointment for many fans. Emotions surged. Families were said to be upset. In a separate lane, Alp's planned commercial work with Alina Boz aired and was folded, by some, into a story it never belonged to. Through it all, the people at the center chose silence or careful words. That choice is not a verdict, it is a boundary. Honor it. Thank you for watching Turkish Spotlight Secrets and for being the kind of community that understands the difference between curiosity and claim. If you value this approach, slow, human, and exact, subscribe, turn on notifications, and consider joining so we can keep telling stories at a pace that respects the people in them. In the comments, tell us how you navigate moments like this without losing compassion. We read everything, and we moderate for kindness.